I told you before to show some respect, Nylea said, angrily. Creating biokeyed matter is a difficult process, and the more versatile that matter is, the more difficult it is to produce. This is why it takes generations in order to hone an ability, and the substance you hold in that glass holds extraordinary strength, like you wouldn't believe, Kevin. This too is going to be something that you're going to have to understand when it comes to symbiotes. The type of biokeyed matter that a symbiote produces has a great effect on the amount that they can produce. You need to understand this. That small amount that you have in the glass, it took me 24 hours to make that. And it will probably take another 24 hours to make another round of it. You're kidding me, I replied. All you can do is make this much in 24 hours? How is that supposed to help me? How is that even beneficial at all? I said, frustrated with the silly silver liquid in a glass, setting it down on the table. Don't be childish, Kevin. As I said, everything has its limitations. There are advantages and backfalls to everything. The fact that I can only produce this small amount per day is the limitation of my ability. Using our bodies together, I produce this mucus, but its small amount is part of the trade-off for its power, and the fact that it doesn't fade. Many symbiotes produce biokeyed matter, but you must understand, Kevin, all biokeyed matter has limitations, depending on what it is that they produce and the effects that it generates. For example, if a symbiote produces acid, then they must also store that acid, meaning they have to manipulate their host's body in order to store it away, without harming the host, of course. This produces a severe limitation on the amount that they can produce, meaning while yes, they can produce that acid, they can only store so much as the body that their host has will allow them to. And once it's used up, their only option is to make more, meaning the acid has to fall into a simple category, something base, something that they could make rapidly. But that also has its backfalls, Kevin. The more that they produce, the harder it is to keep producing it, the greater the expenditure of energy. And if they run out of energy altogether, then they stop being able to produce it. Even trying to increase the amount that one's host can carry has its limitations. There's only so much one can do with a physical body, and enhancing one's physical body in order to carry that liquid, that acidic substance, is a difficult and timely process. And even then, with a substance like acid, once the substance is used, once they exert the acid and then use it to attack, that acid slowly loses its concentration and effect. The more things that they throw the acid at, the more of the acid gets burnt through, and the more that they have to produce. It's a cycle of diminishing returns that slowly chips away at the energy of both the symbiote and their host. The other side of that is like my ability. I produce a very specialized substance, one of a kind that you won't find anywhere else, that has characteristics and aspects like nothing you've ever heard of. But because of its versatility, its power, I can only produce a very small amount of it. But unlike a symbiote who produces a substance that loses its strength over time, or that becomes expended, and I simply have to produce more, the mucus that I produce doesn't fade at all. It is basically eternal. Once I produce it, and you extract it, regardless of what form you choose to put it in, it will neither weaken nor age. So, as time passes and you produce more, Little by little, every day, your strength will increase. With every new round of production, the amount of matter that you have at your disposal to control increases, and thus your power increases. As an example, if you would recollect back to when we first encountered one another on the ship, remember? That massive metal creature was actually produced from this biokeyed matter. That armored Goliath form was nothing more than this mucus, which I gave specific form to, in order to create a sort of defensive body. As I thought back to the event, I remember it. That massive thing that I thought was going to eat me. That thing was most definitely intimidating. Is she seriously saying that it was made entirely of this silly little silver liquid sitting in the glass in front of me? I thought that thing was solid steel, but it was this stuff? I thought to myself, staring at the glass, she could really make something like that out of this? That was quite simply amazing. To think that this little bit of silver sludge could be steel, hard like that. But she did say that it takes the form of your thoughts, that it does your will and takes whatever form you see fit. And then something else crossed my mind. Wait a second. Nylea, did you say this was mucus? Yes, Nylea replied. That is correct. It is a type of mucus that I and I alone can produce. And, well, you, I suppose. Oh, that is just so gross. There is no way, even if I am using this as my superpower, that I'm calling it mucus. But it is mucus. I just told you that. I know, Nylea, I replied, frustrated and really grossed out by the thought of vomiting up large amounts of mucus. Ugh, I shuddered for a moment. Yeah, I'm not calling it that. How about we just call it liquid steel? That's not correct, Nylea said, confused. It's a mucus. A very powerful mucus, mind you. Yeah, Nylea, still not calling it that. This is something that you're just going to have to get comfortable with. And I am by no means telling anyone that this is mucus. I don't see what your problem is with it. You produce all kinds of mucus. I'm in your body. I know these things. Why is it so disturbing to you? Nylea, it just is. Fine, call it whatever you want. Just don't expect me to go along with you on it. This is mucus. Get used to it. Fine, you call it what you want, and I'll call it what I want. And I'm going with liquid steel. It sounds much better, and far less repulsive. Very well. On to the next step, I suppose, Nylea said. Now, it's time for you to learn how to control this mucus. Once again, stop calling it that, I said, shuddering another time. Regardless, Kevin, Nylea said, beginning to grow frustrated. Now, focus. In order to control this, you must enforce your intentions on it. By focusing your mind, your thoughts, you will find that the liquid obeys you, does what you want it to, but you need to become accustomed to this. Remember, it's only as effective as your control over it is. So, the more you practice controlling it, manipulating it, the more effectively you can use it. So I want you to imagine the liquid moving in a way that benefits you. Control it. Make it do what you want it to. Okay, I said. Time to take this for a test drive. Let's see how this works, I said, raising my hand a little bit, staring at the glass on the table. Okay, silver sludge. Let's do this.